Hark! It's an 87th Precinct bonus episode. This is the bonus podcast for our look at the book Vespers, the 42nd of the 87th Precinct novels. A delightfully bleak tale of dead priests and Satanists and attempts to acquire guns in order to kill hitmen. You know, all the jolly things that we like to read about. Lots of fun. I've got Steve O'Morgan here for the very important work of talking about the book covers and smelling the books. We're still doing it. We're still doing it. And then we'll have a look at some more stuff from 1990, usual stuff of music, TV, films, and our picks as well. So shall we have a look at the stuff I brought along? Brought along? What am I talking about? But yes, so Steve-O, do you want to describe the very first picture, the US Hardback Edition?
It's got the same classical Ed McBain with the C in the M and the B. Nice big white text with Vespers. And it's on top of a picture. Is that a church?
I assume
it's got a cross.
Yeah,
a cross on the top.
Yeah. Not a church as I'd know a church, though, to be fair.
I don't think it's a church like you'd find in New York either, or even Isola.
It looks more like a Germanic castle.
It does a bit.
Yes.
With a bit of a sunset or sunrise behind it. Or large fire in the building behind it. But yeah, quite a moody image there. That it is not a still that would be unsurprising if it hadn't come from a early 60s Hammer horror film, actually.
No, true.
Has a bit of that look about it, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of that vibe. So yeah, I quite like the look of that.
Yes, quite enigmatic indeed. And so let's see what we do for the US paperback. If you could describe the next one, Morgan.
Next one along. So we've got the same Ed McBain logo as described very ably by Steve-O. We've got a bit of a jaunty font for the word Vespers.
It is a bit like something you might see on a Pink Panther cartoon.
It is a bit. It's particularly for the fact that it is actually in hot pink, which is a bit strange. And there's a different church in the background. Looks a little bit psychedelic as churches go, but I don't know what that would entail. It's not quite as kind of eerily twilight as the other one, and there's some kind of vehicle in front of it as well. I'm not sure.
Like a bus.
I think it's trying to imply that it's a church on a street in a city. Yeah. So I think that's a bit more like you might find in New York.
It's next door to a bar, isn't it? And
that would make sense.
Hotel.
Yeah. But it's a similar concept, really, to the other one, just slightly differently executed.
Yeah, that font is quite something, really.
It really is.
I hadn't twigged at quite how loopy it was.
Yeah, it's a bit like it's like you'd imagine like the Ventures would be written on the front of like an album sleeve from 1964.
Oh right, well,
yeah. Very jaunty.
Wait till you see the UK hardback font then.
This is...
well, I'll let you describe this one as well, Steve-O.
Well, it's got the flag of Italy in, I would assume. But what?
Oh yes.
But what, so like green at the top, white in the middle, and then a dripping blood at the bottom. Why that would be the flag of Italy? I suppose one of the main protagonists, very Italian community, isn't it? Maybe it's a nod to that. And then I think that's in front of a church doorway, but it's all a bit conceptual, so you can't really. Otherwise, black cover. So exciting font. Again, quite psychedelic shaped text.
It's a weird mismatch of fonts, isn't it? The kind of very sort of stark late 80s, early 90s thriller kind of Ed McBain kind of blocky red, and then this sort of weird prog album cover kind of Vespers underneath.
Yes, it is very prog, yeah.
It's like the same font as Yes have on their albums for like the word yes, isn't it? Very similar.
We've got quite a mixed bag here of very weird things. Yeah. And I've got the UK paperback edition in front of me here, which is the final one.
I've got that one as well, yeah.
Yeah, so it just says McBain in stark red letters at the top. We've got a distant cityscape, which we've had before in some of the Penguin editions, or some of the Penguin reprints anyway, have got that sort of thing. No, am I thinking? Yeah, Penguin ones. Vespers is done in a sort of copper plate, I think they call it, don't they? That type of font, with a nice shiny gold background to it. There, as if it's something that you might see outside a church or something like that. I don't know. And then we've got a cross and rosary lying in, I don't know, what's
a white line?
Yeah, so it looks like a white line on a road, which would suggest that there was an automobile aspect to this, which there isn't.
Perhaps it's the line of which a priest should not cross, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, Steve, that's yeah.
Symbolism.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, it's clearly an asphalt road, though, isn't it? In the white line.
I suppose it is, yeah.
Or somebody's unrolled a giant roll of toilet paper. And this is, just looking at the middle bit of
it. Holding it down with a cross and rosary.
Yeah.
As you do.
So it doesn't blow away.
Yeah.
And of course, now we're outside of Pan publishing the UK paperback, so it's no longer Colin Thomas anymore. It's cover design by Button Design Company, according to this.
Button Design Company.
So yeah. So what do we think of those four? Actually, I mean,
they're not the worst ones we've had. Bloody hell, we've had some shockers.
Not.
I think I would order them. I quite like the first one. Second one, yeah, they're not bad. The third one's a bit boring, but then it's got the font from Tales from a Topographic Ocean, so it's not all bad. Although that is a dreadful record, so perhaps it is. But yeah, so they're all right. They've each got something to remark on, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been more fun describing these than some of them anyway.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's get back to some 19. Oh no, hang on, we haven't done our smelling.
Yeah.
So we've ascertained that Steve and I have got the UK paperback editions, and Morgan, you've got your omnibus.
I wonder if they smell the same. Ooh, very. Yeah, it doesn't really smell very much, mine. You see, we've no way to test whether they smell the same, and what we could do with it. Somebody needs to write a thesis on the smell of books. Because, old books have a certain smell, don't they?
This is true.
Yeah.
And yet, what causes that smell, and they're all stored in different places. So, yeah, I'll shut up now. But mine's a bit beaten up. How much did yours cost?
Mine would have cost $3.99 at the time.
Ooh, mine's $4.99.
Oh, when I bought it, it was $1.99 when I bought it.
Right, well, mine originally cost $4.99 and I bought for £2.
Mine was £4 for the 3 books, and would originally have been a whopping $9.99.
Bloody hell. So this says reprinted 1991 5 times, 1992 twice, and 1993 3 times.
Crikey!
Seems an excessive amount. Which one have you got?
Mine was a 1991 reprint.
So there's been at least 5 plus reprints since mine and yours.
Yeah, I wonder whether that's to do with that they printed fewer of them than they thought they'd need, or it was just that popular that they got through lots of them. You don't know, do you?
No, maybe.
But, yeah, let me have a quick whiff of mine as we're comparing similar editions.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. I'm happy with that. Satisfactory. That's what I like. Not too much, not too little. That's the sort of thing. And I suppose Morgan's. Will it be different in the middle of your book edition rather than the edges?
I feel like if I had a better and more acute sense of smell, it might be different in the middle, just because the original owner of this did appear to have spilt some water on the top of the book, which has resulted in some water damage to the earlier pages. So we're away from that. I imagine it probably smells very slightly different towards the middle, but I can't tell.
So you can't tell what he spilt? Could have been a cup of tea or like...
I think it was a cup of tea. I'd know about it. It definitely just looks like it's water and it's just not dried out. Just got that slight crinkling of the pages.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like wave to the whole thing.
Yes, that's the one.
Right, well. Oh, there we go. That's me recovering from my book sniffing there. Let's get stuck into some 1990 stuff. And as I've said before in the main episode, things now are very, I say fresh in the mind. They feel like they're fresh in the mind. 1990 to me feels like yesterday.
Yes.
But in fact, it's 30 years ago. So that is terrifying. But I've got the UK and US charts from the week of 3rd of January 1990 when this book was copyrighted. So I will run down these and you can give me your thoughts on them. So
Cool.
I'll run up rather these ones from 10 till 1. In the UK, anyway, we've got You Got It, The Right Stuff by New Kids on the Block.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well,
Which is underneath number 9, Hanging Tough, New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Number 8, we've got The Magic Number and Buddy by De La Soul.
Terrific.
Can't fault that. That's a good thing to be in there. Number 7, we've got Lambada by Keoma.
God. Yeah, that was massive, wasn't it? I always thought in my memory that was one of those sort of summer kind of holiday hits. It really feels like it, but it was right the other end of the year, wasn't it? It's very strange.
Yeah, it was out around Christmas, so it's been a few weeks on the charts. Sort of dance craze type thing, wasn't it? But that's struggling at number 6 underneath Andy Stewart with
Donald, where's your trousers?
oh, right. Well, I've got I got that for Christmas, I think. My auntie bought me that. The 45, which Scottish Soldier on the B-side.
Oh, excellent stuff. Yeah, that's a novelty song and no mistake that's in the charts in 1990.
Yeah. It's all right. It's a chown, that, I tell you.
It is.
Number 5, we've got Dear Jessie by Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
Which I quite like Dear Jessie by Madonna.
Nice sort of like cartoon video, I seem to recall.
Yes, yeah, and it's sort of pleasingly 60s-esque, isn't it, as well? So
yeah, it's very, very cute.
Underneath, above that, underneath and above, the wrong way around. Stupid.
Don't get
4,
you to ever read out the chart show. Mark Goodyear is safe in his job, I would say. And underneath that,
sideways from number 5,
diagonally across,
it's
2 up, 1 across. But maybe it'd be good if you could go 2 up and 1 across and try and avoid number 4, which is Let's Party by Jive Bunny and the Master Mixers.
Oh God, yeah, diminishing returns on that slim gimmick, I think.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know who Jive Bunny is, then I'll leave it up to you to choose whether you want to look them up. We bear no responsibility for what happens if you do. Number 3 is Get a Life by Soul to Soul. I don't remember that one.
It's not as well known as Back to Life or the other one, which I also can't remember now. But it's still pretty big. I think it's the one with it's got like a little kind of kids chorus kind of hook.
Oh yes, no, I know it exactly now.
Yeah,
it's come back to me. They're all right, Soul to Soul. Yeah. Number 2 is When You Come Back to Me by Australia's own Jason Donovan.
All right, okay.
I'm not sure if that's the start of the end for him, really, as far as hits go.
He trundles on for a little bit, doesn't he? I think, and then gets a revival with Joseph after a bit. But it's kind of it's the halcyon days from the start of 1990, I think.
Okay, and number 1, Do They Know It's Christmas? Band-Aid 2.
Ooh, the Pete Waterman produced one, marvelous.
Yeah. I know there's some folks who will defend it to this day, but it's just not got the as none of them have had since the remakes of it. It's not quite got the star quality as it of the original.
Not quite, no.
You've not got Status Quo turning up drunk,
Yeah,
Thingy from Bros on the drums instead of Phil Collins. Sad times.
So anyway, we've learnt that Steve-O at the age of 11 for Christmas got Donald Where's Your Choosers by Andy Stewart.
I've no idea where that is, but it'll be somewhere.
Excellent. Treasure it. Okay, and in America, so the top 10, starting at 10, is I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9 is The First Time by Surface.
Oh, don't remember that.
Sounds like a cleaning agent, that song, doesn't it?
Cleans the first time, every time.
Yeah.
Surface, for surfaces. 8 is Sensitivity by Ralph Tresvant? No
Ralph
idea.
Tresvant. Sounds like another car, a bit like Steve Citron.
Number 7, Love Will Never Do Without You by Janet Jackson. See, I've heard of Janet Jackson.
I don't remember that one.
No. Number 6, Impulsive by Wilson Phillips.
Yeah, I don't think we got as many of Wilson Phillips' hits over here as they got in the States.
No. 1 or 2, didn't we?
Yeah.
Pretty big, but... Number 5 is Tom's Diner, DNA, featuring Suzanne Vega.
Tremendous.
Yeah, that's all right. Number 4 is High Enough by Damn Yankees.
Oh, that's Ted Nugent soft rock band, I think, possibly.
Oh, lovely. That's what you want over the festive period.
Definitely, a bit of festive Ted.
It's a festive Ted.
Ted Nugent turning up on Christmas Day. You'd know
With
about it. You'd know about it, wouldn't you?
Blasting the windows out of your house. 3 is From a Distance by Bette Midler.
Oh, God.
Possibly the best way to experience that. I'm sure that's a joke that was made many times. Number 2 is Stevie B with Because I Love You, the Postman song.
Oh.
Nope. And number 1 is Justify My Love by Madonna.
It seemed Donald Where's Your choices had just fallen out of the top 10 at that point.
Yeah. Andy Stewart had it withdrawn at his own request. Cause, But, every week we do these charts, and it just shows you that they just bear no resemblance to the songs that get remembered, by even the current and future generations, do they?
Well, there's so much stuff in charts that comes and goes. I think it's the idea that charts are this fixed record of something of this was the best. It's like, well, no, this is what sold the best.
Yeah,
the stuff, you'll be having stuff that hung around in the top 20 for a month, and that's probably the stuff that gets listened to now still, isn't it? Rather than something that happened to peak at number 7 for a week.
Yeah, and again, we're not really talking about albums so much, and that's a whole other story in terms of what their place is and status in terms of memory making, and whether the people even released singles off them.
I read though, which was when I was just having a look for my own picks, that 1990 was the top year for the peak year for US cassette sales.
Great days.
Which I thought was quite interesting. So thereafter slid away. So I suppose probably the UK, probably a few years maybe after that. So maybe we had a couple more years of like 92, maybe 93 peaking, and then CDs maybe. But a bit of a changing of the guards format wise.
Certainly, yeah. It obviously took CD a little while to sort of get its full foothold and come down in price to be, affordable for everyone. Anyway, I was just thinking, I didn't get my first CD player at home until 1994, and that was a Christmas present. And that was the year I got Live at the BBC by the Beatles.
I think we got ours in 1990 because my mum won it in a competition along with some record tokens. So I think we each got sort of a couple of CDs with these record tokens, and then those were the family CD collection for the next 4 years.
All right. Can you remember what you got?
I can. I got Sheer Heart Attack by Queen and a terrible choice, Fly on the Wall by AC/DC, possibly the worst ever AC/DC album. I didn't know. I liked the picture on the cover. I plumbed for it. At the time, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of decent songs, but it's not the best.
Oh, well, there you go. That's an early adopter thanks to your mum's amazing power of winning competitions.
Yes, this is true.
She was an enterer of competitions, wasn't she, your mum?
Very much so, yeah. We most of the things in the house were won one way or another. We kind of just did without stuff until my mum won it.
Well, if you've got the skill. There you are. Right, well, let's move on to the highest grossing films of 1990. Oh, can you think what might be in there?
Pretty Woman?
Yes, number 3.
There was quite a lot of fairly shit sequels, wasn't there, when I was looking down at 1990 films?
Trying to think.
There's a couple of sequels in the top 10.
Godfather Part 3.
Oh,
no.
Back to the Future 3?
Back to the Future Part 3's in there, yeah. Got number 6 highest grossing film.
Gremlins Part 2.
Well, that comes out in 1990, yeah. Die Hard 2 is the other one that's in there at number 7.
Yeah, there was Predator 2, was that there? So many.
Not in the top 10.
So many 2s. I think you're going to have to tell us rather than us.
Well, let's run up from number 10 again. So number 10 highest grossing. Just sideways.
Next
left.
one down.
Stop, sidestep left. Number 10, Kindergarten Cop.
God, we'd be guessing forevermore on that.
I think I saw that in the cinema.
Excellent.
Number 9, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Which I definitely saw in the cinema.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did as well, although I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
Highest grossing indie film ever at that point. Because it was an independent film that made $201 million. Presumed Innocent, number 8. I don't know.
No, I don't think I know what that is at all.
Then we've got Die Hard 2, Back to the Future Part 3, Total Recall, number 5.
Oh, cracking.
Yeah.
Good old Paul
We can remember it for you wholesale.
Yes.
Number 4, Dances with Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
A picture your parents went to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, is that film called Dances with Wolves?
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, you see, it just doesn't sound right, does it? I've never thought that film sounds right. Dances with Wolves.
With wolves.
It just sounds somehow wrong. Yeah.
Dancerhampton Wanderers with Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Pretty Woman. Number 2 is Home Alone.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
number 1 is Spectral Pottery Sex with Ghost.
Oh, God,
oh yeah. Yeah, quite like Demi Moore in that film. That was good.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a list of some still quite big films there, really, ones that have lasted. And, yeah, not bad. I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it's quite good. The animatronics in it were excellent.
Don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's really worth watching.
I think I watched it about 30 years ago for the one and only time, and therefore have no memory of it.
Well, don't accidentally watch one of the newer versions of the recent adaptations, which are absolutely awful. Well, moving on from the big screen, let's get down to the small screen, because I've got some TV debuts to share with you. And a couple of things in here that have blown my tiny mind. In the UK, things that start over here, including things that we've just adopted from other countries, like Quantum Leap.
Oh, great stuff.
Quantum Leap and Star Trek The Next Generations both start on UK TV in 1990. And they both remind me of moving to Stoke, because it was the first time I had a television in my bedroom when we moved down there. And both of those things started again on TV on BBC Two, I think. And watching them on a little black and white telly while I was sort of tidying up my room, things like that. MasterChef starts in 1990.
Oh, fantastic.
I tell you what, I was watching an episode of Pointless the other day, and it had Lloyd Grossman in, and you can't equate the person he looks like now with what he looked like 30 years ago. It's mad.
We also get, in 1990, we get the start of the Jeeves and Wooster adaptation, starring Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie, which is brilliant.
Excellent.
Mr. Bean starts.
Oh, God.
Soon to be a worldwide phenomena. We get Vic Reeves' Big Night Out, very, very important to me. And the Mary Whitehouse Experience, which was a very good comedy show, which felt like it was slightly too old for us, I think.
Oh, yeah. It felt very edgy watching that.
We also get The Crystal Maze.
Oh,
great.
Start the fans, please.
You have got 208 gold tokens, but 40,000 silver tokens. So you go home empty-handed.
We watched quite a few episodes of that whilst I was on holiday, the old ones. And I'm not kidding, 100% of the people in that episode, in those programmes, all have ridiculous made-up names. But only subtly ridiculous. So we were talking about Steve Citron, but they'd all have a name like that.
Oh, right.
Like,
okay.
Sound like a make of car or, something else, yeah.
It was essentially a team building away day on TV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Groups of chartered accountants being sent out to go in to do these tasks.
While being taunted by Richard O'Brien.
Yeah, very strange. But one thing I did want to mention, this is I've never heard of this, but tell me if you have. Now, obviously, in 1990, none of us lived in Liverpool, so we might not have heard about the programme. There were 16 episodes of it made, 2 series. Waterfront Beat, a police procedural set in the Liverpool docks, created by Phil Redmond.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I watched that. Was there not one called Mersey Beat or something?
There was years later.
That was about 10, so like about 2000, so about 10 years after that.
Yeah, but this was called Waterfront Beat and all set down the docks. So I've never heard of it ever. No. And I looked at the list of actors in it, didn't recognise any of them.
Fighting crime on Otter's Pool Prom.
Yes, absolutely. Keeping the floating map of Great Britain safe.
Yeah.
Outside the TV studio.
No, I think that must have sunk without a trace.
Yeah, into one of the docks, into the silt of Albert Dock at the time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that blew my mind. I've never heard of that, but part of me really wants to see it because I'd quite like to see Liverpool in 1990.
Yeah.
So if I give you some US TV debuts, Twin Peaks starts.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously left a lasting legacy and still sort of going to some extent now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is just repeated ad nauseum for forever. And the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the cartoon.
Great.
Do you remember that?
I do. Well, I kind of vaguely remember the theme tune. I don't actually remember much about the show.
Me too. No, I don't think it was very good, but I do remember Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. But there was a TV series made of Uncle Buck. Not starring John Candy.
Obviously.
And guess what? It was cancelled partway through its run.
Shocker.
But this is the thing that most blew my mind. And I'm sure I haven't mentioned this before, but if I have, I do apologise. I would have blanked it out, which is why it's come to me new. So we've got Stephen Bochco, who creates Hill Street Blues, essentially. Mm-hmm. Very, very important person. So he's created a new police procedural. But let me just add a little word on there. He's created a new police procedural musical.
Oh.
It's called Cop Rock.
Wow.
There's 11 episodes of this. Composers featured on it include Randy Newman.
Oh my God.
And Mike Post, who did the Hill Street Blues music.
Yeah.
But Randy Newman did the theme for the programme. And it appears in the title sequence and stuff. But it's a gritty police procedural, but it's a musical.
That sounds amazing.
I just can't imagine it, really. And I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try and look an episode up and we could do a bonus episode watching one of them at some point because it sounds
tremendous.
It sounds too good to be true. But yeah, apparently the series' final episode, which aired on December the 26th, 1990, concluded with the cast breaking character and joining the crew members in performing a closing song.
Wow.
That makes my heart sink. That's ludicrous. Yeah, and I did look at other stuff from around other places in the world anyway to get us away from cop rock. But basically, the main thing that seems to be happening everywhere across the world is funniest home video movies are
I guess,
TV show home video movies, home video things. So we get You've Been Framed starts in the UK, but it starts across the world. Everywhere it's like, Australia's funniest home videos, New Zealand's funniest home videos, Canada's funniest.
I guess, the increasing availability of affordable video cameras it makes a kind of cheap way of making TV that lots of people watch.
Yeah, because we all like to see people driving into a tree on a motorbike or falling in a lake.
Yeah, people being humorously injured.
Yeah, the prime Dennis Norden days, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we do like to see things going wrong. We have a miserable species we are.
Yep.
So, anyway, let's get on to our picks. And I think I'll come to Steve-O first. What have you brought for us in
my
film
lord.
and
Well,
album?
yeah, I must admit I came to it very late. So, yeah, I can't quite remember what I plumbed for. For film, you did mention it. I've quite well, but am I ashamed to have picked this? I don't know. I've picked Total Recall. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for that film.
Don't be ashamed of that. It's a cracker.
No, it's excellent.
It being totally ridiculous. And I did see it not so long since, and even on multiple watches, it holds up. And it's one of those films that you can't. It's like quite. Even though I must have watched it about, well, I don't know, 20 times or something. It's quite confusing, actually. Quite confusing.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty twisty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those films. I'm not even certain that the people who wrote it fully actually knew what had gone on. So yes, I'll go with that.
That's fair enough.
And then for my music pick, well, I was having a look down. I was a little bit disappointed reading through everything, and then I must have hit jackpot a good year for metal. I would say 1990. So lots of metal picks, lots of like really over the hill 70s acts still churning out albums in 1990. But yeah, Pantera, classic Megadeth album as well. But now I know I went for Neil Young quite recently, but he did bring out Ragged Glory in 1990, and I struggle not to pick that, even though I always had a bit of a soft spot for Rust in Peace as well by good old Dave Mustaine and the lads. But yeah, I'll go for Ragged Glory, I think.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, you're allowed to repeat artists and things like that, because otherwise I'd be stuffed half the time.
Well, you could go for an Ian Gillan solo album, couldn't you? I just don't know.
Well, that's between you and your God.
But yeah, it's not quite full on. Slightly before most of like the grunge releases start coming out, I would think. But I saw Mother Love Bone, were they called?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the precursors of that explosion starting to see their releases in 1990. But
definitely that stuff creeping in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go to Morgan now and find out what he has selected from this particular year.
Go on then. Yeah, film-wise, I am going to go with Crybaby. So I don't know if you're familiar with it, the John Waters rock and roll musical.
I feel like it might be something we would have watched at some point on video at university or something like that, or after.
Quite probably, yeah. It's I know Johnny Depp's a problematic figure these days, but he was at his peak in that, along with a really great supporting cast with Iggy Pop on hysterical form, Tracy Lords, a lot of the John Waters regulars as well, Mink Stole. And it's obviously ridiculously campy, really good fun. The songs are great. It's just totally daft and utterly hilarious, I think. So I've always had a bit of a soft spot for that.
Nice choice then.
And album-wise, I actually got a bit excited when I started looking through the records that I'd got that came out in 1990. And I think 1990 was definitely the time when I really kind of properly got into buying records. I bought a few records before then, but that was like the first year when I really went a bit nuts with everything. So loads of stuff that I was very excited about that year. It was difficult to narrow it down, really. There's a few gems. First Green Day album came out 1990, 39 Smooth, which is excellent. Fear of a Black Planet by Public Enemy, I was almost going for.
Oh, yeah, that's a good record.
An absolute beast. And my favourite Suicidal Tendencies record, Lights, Camera, Revolution, which I did buy in 1990. But I am going to go for Flood by They Might Be Giants.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Because I love They Might Be Giants, and that was kind of, I guess, their big major label breakthrough. It's got Birdhouse in Your Soul on, which is a great pop song, but actually the best thing about it is just it's so weird. It's like a big, sprawling, weird album with lots of very strange little songs on. Quite what most people who bought it based on that one really obvious pop song thought when they actually got this record home. I have no idea, but it's very strange and I love it. Yeah.
I do quite like stealth albums like that. You get everyone drawn in by a really popular single, and Birdhouse in Your Soul was really popular in the UK.
Yes,
I think it was in the charts for ages, wasn't it? But it's that's good. Nice. Well, I have chosen, anyway, for my film, and it has been mentioned before, because Steve mentioned it before, it's Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Oh, right.
Tremendous.
I am a big fan of Gremlins 2. I love Gremlins. It's a brilliant film. But there's something about Gremlins 2 where, you know, where sequels, they just take an idea and they just overdo it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Gremlins 2 does brilliantly. And it overdoes it, but also does it in sort of strange satirical way, this big sort of big business satire that's going on top of Gremlins. And I'm a really big fan of Gremlins 2, and I must watch it again soon.
Is Christopher Lee in it?
Yes, he is. It's worth it for that alone, really. And for albums, I think something Steve-O sort of mentioned there as well, of course, is this American rock grunge sound, and also not just the grunge, but sort of this weird indie rock sound coming out of America. So we're starting to see all sorts of things. So I'm torn between two here. Both albums I'm not like massively familiar with, but I love. One is Repeater by Fugazi.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a heck of an album.
Sure
but you've also got Goo by Sonic Youth.
Hmm.
So what do you do when you've got to weigh up Fugazi, or like Repeater or Goo? I don't know. I'd probably go for Repeater because I know that one better than Goo.
Yeah.
But they're both great guitar albums.
Definitely, yeah.
So,
absolutely cracking.
So Repeater by Fugazi is my pick for music anyway.
Awesome.
Excellent. Right, well there we go. We've dealt with 1990. We're in a new decade. I've moved to Stoke. McBain's had a heart attack. all the fun of the fair. God, it really does feel like yesterday. I can't believe it. We will be back soon with the main book, which is Widows. But before then, as I mentioned on the main podcast, we'll be doing some Christmas stuff with And All Through the House. So until we see you for such festive fun, I am going to say au revoir, and so is Steve-O.
Goodbye.
And Morgan.
Very well.